Hey guys, you got Grinch here. I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna go through my week 2 picks for the football season. Week 1 was a pretty good week to kick things off. The Bills and Ravens game was awesome. Anybody that didn't catch that, it came down to, Buffalo was down, I think, like 15 with like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They ended up beating Baltimore 41-40. The Dolphins stunk it up like they always do, I guess. They were down 30-0 to the Colts. They lost 33-8. The Raiders-Patriots game, that was a great game. There was the Cowboys-Eagles game to kick off the week. That was a pretty good game, close game, 24-20. There was Tampa and Atlanta, came down to a last-second field goal, except the Falcons kicked the field goal and missed it. So Steelers-Jets, that came down to a last-minute field goal. Jaguars stomped the Panthers. Washington stomped the Giants. Cardinals and Saints game was a lot closer than I thought it would be. The Bengals beat the Browns by 1, I'm pretty sure. The Niners and Seahawks was a close game, 17-14, I think. Yeah, Broncos and Titans was close for a while, but then the Broncos defense is crazy. The Lions lost to the Packers. They actually got smashed by the Packers if you go back and look at it. The Rams beat the Texans. The Monday night game, the Vikings and the Bears. The Bears were, they were up on the Vikings. It looked like they had them, and then J.J. McCarthy came back. Vikings beat the Bears. So his first career start, he gets his first career fourth quarter comeback. So week 1 was, it was one of those ones, I guess, But moving on to week 2. So I didn't do too hot in week 1. I think I finished 7-9, something like that. It wasn't all that great. I didn't do all that bad, but I didn't do all that good either. So right now it is almost midnight on Tuesday, so we are going into Wednesday. So I'm just gonna do my picks now because I got a lot of baseball coming up, coach-wise. Had my first game tonight. We lost by 1. We're 0-3 overall, but it's hard to come by time, so I'm just gonna do this while I get a chance to. Everybody's upstairs sleeping because, like I said, it's almost midnight. So I'm just gonna look and see what we have on here for my office football pool league and see what they got. So I'll start with this one. Last week it didn't have the Thursday or the Friday game. That's another one, the Chiefs-Chargers. That was a great game. The Chargers beat them. But it didn't have the Thursday or the Friday game in my pick, so I had to go over to a different platform to look at all that stuff. And like I said in my previous video, a lot of these are half-point spreads, 3.5, 5.5, 2.5. I'm gonna round them up to either an upper number or a lower number. So like this first game is Washington at Green Bay. That's the Thursday night game. Washington is getting 3.5 on here, so I'm gonna drop it to 3. So I'm gonna say, Washington didn't look bad in week 1. Green Bay looked really good against Detroit. So, if I had to pick in this game, I'd probably say the Packers win at home and they cover. So I could see Green Bay winning this game probably by 4, maybe like 21-17, I'll go. So the first game slated on Sunday is, we got the Rams at the Titans. The Titans are 6-point underdogs at home. The Rams coming off the win against Houston. I think Houston is one of the better teams. The Rams look pretty good on offense and defense. Davante Adams had a nice game. Stafford didn't look too bad. Tennessee is that young team where they got the number 1 overall pick playing. He's going to go through some learning curves. I do think they looked pretty decent at times against the Broncos last week. I'm going to say the Rams win. And I think it's probably, I'd like to say that they win by 6, but I'm going to say the Rams win. The Rams cover, and I'm going to go 24-14 Rams. Next game up is Seahawks at Steelers. The Seahawks are getting 3. Seattle didn't look too bad against San Francisco, especially like a banged up San Fran team. George Kittle's out for a while. They're still missing Brandon Ayuk. McCaffrey's banged up. Purdy's banged up. He might not play. Oh wait, I'm talking about the Niners. It's the Steelers and the Seahawks. My bad. But Seattle didn't look bad against a banged up 49ers team is what I was getting to, but they still lost. The Steelers came through last minute, beat the Jets. That was actually a really good game, 34-32, high-scoring game. This game is in Pittsburgh. Seattle has to travel across the country, play in a different time zone. That didn't matter last week with the Raiders and Patriots, but I'm going to say the Steelers win this game. I think it's going to be a 3-point game, though. It seems like it could be something high, so I don't know. Seattle's defense looked pretty nice, so I'll say the Steelers win and the Seahawks cover. I'll say the Steelers win 21-20. Next game up is Bills at Jets. The Jets are 7-point underdogs. They did not look bad in week 1, but Buffalo is just one of those teams that's on a different level. It is a division game. 7 points for a division game, I think, is pretty high. Usually when these teams meet, it's usually either a blowout on Buffalo's side or it's a close game on the Jets side. I'm going to say the Bills win this game. I'm going to say the Bills win, the Bills cover. I'm going to go 31. I'll go 31-20, Bills over the Jets. Next up is Bears at Lions. The Bears are getting 6 points. They didn't look bad for most of the game Monday night, and the Lions really didn't look like they got anything going. It's another division game. Detroit is home this time around. I think this could be a game where they get right. I'm going to say the Lions win. As much as I'd like to take the Bears to cover, I'm going to say the Lions cover too. I'm going to say this is one of those games where the Lions come out and they just, after last week, I'll say the Lions win 38-21. I think the Bears can get 3 touchdowns on them, especially with Detroit trying to find themselves on defense and get back into a groove. But I think the offense is going to explode. Next up is Giants at Cowboys, another division game. The Giants looked pretty woeful in week 1. They're getting 6 points. The Cowboys look pretty damn good against the Eagles, if you ask me, and it's in Dallas. It is a division game, and Dallas is one of those teams that are hit or miss. I'm going to say the Cowboys win, though. I'm going to say the Cowboys win, but the Giants cover. I'll say 20-17 Cowboys win. Next game up is Browns at Ravens. The Browns are getting 10 points, even though they kept it close against the Bengals. The Ravens have a different defense than the Bengals do. I'd like to say Baltimore's got a good defense, but I think they're more middle of the pack. They're more of an offensive team nowadays than a defensive team like they're known for. I'm going to say the Ravens win, but the Browns cover. I'm going to say the Ravens. I'll go 27-21 Ravens. Next up is 49ers at the Saints. The Saints are 4-point underdogs. Like I was saying earlier, the 49ers are really banged up right now. They might not have Brock Purdy. This might be like that ultimate pick'em of the week. I know they still have Kyle Shanahan calling the plays, and they're still a good team. I'm going to say the 49ers do win. Maybe it's one of those games. I mean, New Orleans should have been like by far the worst team in week 1, just off paper, and they weren't. If you ask me, it was the Dolphins. So I'm going to say the Niners win and the Saints cover. I'll go with 17-14 49ers. Next up is the Patriots at the Dolphins. The Patriots are getting a point. It's probably basically a pick 'em. I'm actually going to go with a pick 'em in this game. The Dolphins look like complete garbage in week 1. The Colts did run a defense on them to take away Tua's first look. Without his first look, he looked like a deer in the headlights. He didn't know what to do. If it wasn't for Achane powering for that touchdown, we get shut out. I don't think they go for a field goal try there, so as much as I hate to say it, like I said in my previous video, normally I pick whoever the Dolphins are playing so that either the Dolphins win or I get the win off the pick. Sometimes it doesn't happen that way, but I think the Patriots win this game. It's in Miami. I'm going to say Patriots win, so they cover. I'm going to say the Patriots win. I'll go 24-13 Patriots. Sucks, but whatever. Next up is Jaguars at Bengals. The Bengals barely won last week. The Jaguars squashed the Panthers. The Jaguars are getting 3. I'm going to say the Bengals win and start 2-0. I'm going to say the Jaguars cover, though. I'm going to say the Bengals win. I'll go 28-27. Next up is Panthers at Cardinals. It's a 7-point spread. Carolina's getting 7. Cardinals had a tough time beating the Saints. It's in Arizona. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say the Panthers win this game. The Panthers cover. I'll say the Panthers win. I'll go with 31-26. We'll go with the odd score. We'll go high scoring, even though I think Arizona does have a bit of a good defense. So maybe I'll drop that. Maybe I'll say the Panthers win. I'll go 21-16. We'll stay with the odd score, but we'll go lower. Next up is Broncos at Colts. The Colts are getting 3 at home. They looked great against the Dolphins, but then again, that's the Dolphins. So the Broncos have a totally different animal on defense. I don't know, though. Maybe they're a little bit vulnerable on offense. I do like what the Colts have going on for a defense. So I'm going to go with another upset. As much as I like the Broncos, I'm going to say the Colts win this game. They're getting 3, so obviously if they win, they cover. I'm going to say the Colts win. I'll go 24-17. Next up is the Eagles at the Chiefs. Kansas City is at home. It is a pick'em game. They are the underdogs. They lost last week. Philly won. It's hard to see Kansas City starting 0-2, but I'm going to say Philly wins this game. So it's basically a pick'em. I'll say Philly wins. I'll go 28-20 Philly. Next up is Falcons at Vikings. The Falcons are getting 4. It came down to a last-second field goal for overtime. The Falcons missed. Minnesota had the great comeback against Chicago. I do like Minnesota. I think Minnesota is going to be one of my favorites going forward. I've been a Dolphins fan for like 35 years, and they just don't do anything, and I kind of just want to root for somebody else a little bit. I've broken it down to Minnesota's going to be that team. So I'm going to say the Vikings win this game. Cousins is going back to Minnesota, but he is the bench guy, so it's not like, I mean, if Michael Penix gets hurt and Cousins comes in, maybe it's a different story, but if we're just rolling off Michael Penix, I'm going to say the Vikings win this game. I'll say the Vikings win 23-17. So the Vikings win, the Vikings cover. This week we got 2 Monday night games. The first game is Buccaneers at Texans. The Buccaneers are getting 3 points. I like Houston. I like Tampa. I like what both teams are doing. It's hard to see Houston starting 0-2. So I am gonna say, I don't know though. I like what Tampa's doing. They got a young defense. That Egbuka kid, he looked good last week. I hate to start Houston 0-2, but I'm gonna say Tampa. I'm gonna go with Houston. I'm gonna say the Texans win, the Buccaneers cover. I'll go 31-28 Texans. And the final game of the week is the Chargers at the Raiders. The Raiders are getting 3 at home. Both teams coming off wins. The last couple times I've watched the Chargers play the Raiders, they run all over them. But then once you can run all over them, you got Justin Herbert's big arm. So I'm going to say the Chargers win this game. I'll go 24-14 Chargers. So Chargers win, Chargers cover. I know it's a division game. It's usually a harder game. I just think the Chargers have something different going on this year. Even though last week's game was close, it was against the Chiefs. So that is my picks for week 2. Thanks for watching.